Yeah, well, in 1952, I was a fellow at Columbia Presbyterian on a Canadian fellowship, one of the first of those fellowships. And Charlie Reagan was the director of the unit, and he was the secretary of the ARA, so we naturally all became members. And since then, I've been involved one way or another in the activities of the ARA, and the ancillary units work with it. Well, my professional career has been intimately involved with the ARA, ACR. I started out and then became the associate medical director of the Arthritis Foundation, which then at that time was the Arthritis and Rheumatism Foundation. I then went to the NIH and became the associate director for the extramural programs for the National Institutes of Arthritis and Metabolic Diseases, and subsequently became the deputy director of the institute, the deputy director extramural of NIH for extramural affairs, deputy director and acting director of NIH. In all those roles, I was pretty well intimately involved and working with the ACR or the ARA ACR. So it was very difficult to sort of separate one activity from another. Yeah, well, the first annual meeting was pretty small. And as a fellow, it was the first time really involved in that. I was at that time doing some research in the rheumatoid factor and also clinical work in lupus. But it was a relatively small meeting. I guess the most outstanding event of that meeting is when us fellows took Charlie Reagan, our mentor, to a striptease, which embarrassed him no end. But that's the one thing we remember very well, very well. Well, obviously, what has happened is a tremendous increase in the sophistication of research in genomics, genetics. I think that obviously also in imaging, which is tremendous. So I think that will continue, and I think that probably in the next 5 years, there won't be any further breakthroughs in that area. They'll just become more sophisticated. I think in 25 years, we are beginning to see things which we really don't recognize what in the world we can expect. I think I've been involved really in basic research administration now for many, many years. And it's always intrigued me how things arise in very different fields. And suddenly they throw light on what you're interested in and therefore application. But it takes quite a while for that to really get into the effect on treatment or patient care. But it will come. I have absolutely every expectation. I do think, however, that the main problem for rheumatologists, for medicine generally, and for many of the specialties is the healthcare system. And obviously we're coming into area of increasing oversight, increasing problems with funding, and that really is going to be the major impact on this profession in many ways. I'm not sure there is a shortage of rheumatologists. It seems to me that this subject has been current and recurring for at least 40 years, if not more. So that as medicine expands and the population expands, as things change, there obviously is disconnect. I think that the latest survey would indicate that rheumatologists are not doing too badly. But I think that what will happen in the future, as I say, is the manner of reimbursement and the hassle and is going to affect whether people really want to go into practice or not. And I think that the fact, it's been fascinating to see how the ACR and its leadership is beginning to look at this in a very in-depth fashion. I don't think that rheumatology is unique, and so therefore they need to, and they need to look at what is happening in the medical group as a whole and coordinate. And also the fact that the Institute of Medicine and such bodies are also interested. And so it's not something with a simple solution. But I'm amazed that rheumatology is doing as well as it is. I think that one of the tremendous advances has been the morphing of the ARA into the ACR. And in the 50s, 60s, the main concern of the organization was academic rheumatology, because the NIH was then beginning to flower. The support of research was just beginning, and therefore the big impetus was to make sure that academic rheumatology really came of age. In the 70s, beginning in the 70s, certainly in the 80s, the needs of the practitioner began to emerge as an important item. I think that the manner in which the ACR has addressed that problem has been amazing. And I must give great credit to the leadership of how they are working to alert the community as to what's coming and how can we influence what is coming. I think that is going to be it's going to be the most important area for the ACR in the future. Research will look after itself. But what will affect how we practice and where and when is going to be a big factor. But probably the one thing I'm going to be remembered for, and one of the most important things I ever did, was to make sure that Lynn Bonfiglio spent 50 years in the field of arthritis. I hired Lynn in 1956 she became my secretary in the Arthritis Foundation. And the way she's grown is marvelous. So that is my one big tribute.